All right, welcome to Do or Done See, the only podcast where you can hear all the latest about Emmy nominations from too many hosts with hopefully not the same reactions tonight. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the comedy to John's drama to Dave's animated short feature because he's a joke. He's a joke.
You say that, but
a cartoon.
I wouldn't be surprised if, I could pull off an Emmy win in that category. Maybe not as competitive as some of these bigger categories this season, because there are so many shows. This is probably, this is our 9th annual Emmy nomination reaction special. And I believe this might be one of the most competitive years I've ever seen. It's just, we had a weaker year last year because of the 2020 production schedule, and maybe the best of the best were maybe not nominated last year, but this year it's wild how many shows that were even eligible. So there's gonna be lots of surprises, lots of snubs, a lot of stuff to break down when we talk about the 74th Primetime Emmy nominations. The awards are going to take place September 12th on NBC and on Peacock. But tonight, we're not predicting any of those awards. We're just reacting to the nominations that were announced yesterday. The awards will later take place, September 12th, but the Emmy eligibility doesn't go up to September 11th or September 12th there. This is key here. It goes from June 1st, 2021 to May 31st, 2022. So that's why you might see some stuff. Oh, where's The Boys season 3? Not eligible. The Old Man, whatever with Jeff Bridges, not eligible. It's like all the shows right now are not in that. Even the Stranger Things season 4 part 2 is not in this group. It's season 4 part 1. Same with Saul season 6 part 1. So there's a lot of caveats with everything going on. But yeah, there were so many shows that were eligible that I completely forgot until I was scrolling through the master list. Like, here's just a few that got like 1 or 2 nominations that I just completely forgot even existed. But Foundation on Apple TV Plus, Hawkeye, The Morning Show, American Crime Story, Impeachment, Peacemaker, Schmigadoon, The Righteous Gemstones. All these things were in this eligibility window, and they feel like it's like 15 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't get it, but
I mean, my girlfriend liked Foundation, so wanted to stick it through. But geez, man, I wish I didn't.
Zing! I think it only got all that money, all that buzz. I think it was only like 2 nominations for Apple TV Plus there. But we're gonna go through all the big categories in a little bit. First, I got some housekeeping, some rule changes that the Emmys have done this year that maybe add to the confusion and to the onslaught of so many shows being eligible here. The first one I'll mention is starting this year, instead of separating series by airtime, prime time versus daytime, competitions will actually be organized by genre. This means some digital daytime dramas and other daytime programs like talk shows and game shows could potentially move to the prime time ceremony. This is all because of the shift in viewing habits and streaming. Because it's like, what is daytime? I watch the show whenever I want at a certain time. Or there's a show, for instance, Days of Our Lives Beyond Salem. It's a soap opera on Peacock, but that could be technically any time. So that would have been like a daytime show. Is it a primetime show? It's very confusing. That is actually the one exception to the rule. They made any daytime drama categories that are defined as multi-camera weekday daily serials, which is soap operas. They can still be daytime dramas like Days of Our Lives, that one I mentioned. But the Ellen DeGeneres show could technically move to the Primetime Emmys because it resembles a late night talk show.
Like a variety show, yeah.
Yeah, it has a monologue, it has that guest, it has a little, game segment in there. It could compete with The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So that's a possibility. You got that going on. And then I got this other change, and I'm going to then get your thoughts on these two changes. Second change is dramas and comedies will no longer be determined by length. It used to be like 30 minutes, you're a comedy. 60 minutes, you're a drama. In 2015, they allowed like a petition. You could switch if you think it belonged in the other. Maybe Glee is comedic, but it's an hour long. So like, which one do you want to be in? The Academy said comedy and drama series are defined as programs with multiple episodes, a minimum of 6, in which the content is primarily comedic for comedy series or primarily dramatic for dramatic series. Really good job, guys.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
So
it's still very confusing, though, because
it's so subjective. Here. Like, is Atlanta a comedy? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Barry. I mean, sure, there's some funny moments in it, but man, this third season got dark.
Yeah,
The Boys, very comedic.
Oh yeah,
but it's a drama series. Like it's it's all over the place,
basically.
Yeah, it's like
But this rule change makes sense to me because I mean, with streaming services, it's like, episode times are all over the map. I mean, we're not even down to like 43 and 21 minutes. It's like 37, 40, 8, 55. It's
there's
just
episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm that are like going up to like 45 minutes, and it's like, well, that's a comedy. And so I like this. At least they're trying. It's still very confusing. But if we're going to talk confusing, just wait till we get to the limited series category. That's where I have some very confusing rule changes with limited series and a specific show that cleaned up in the limited series category. But any thoughts on the first story I mentioned there, the soap opera, the daytime, the prime time, all that stuff? Or
I mean, that kind of makes sense to me, but my only problem is Ellen is airing at 4:00 in the afternoon. And not in prime time. So I get that she might be...
but I guess it also depends on like your area. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think she gets like that 4 p.m. slot everywhere, but it's kind of like the Jeopardy thing. It's like that syndicated thing where in New York City, it's 7 p.m. But then there's some places in like Arizona, it airs at like 7:30 in the morning, Jeopardy. That's how you got spoiled about the James Holzhauer thing.
Okay.
So
maybe it's more of a conceptual switch of what is prime time from a 7 o'clock is prime time to more of a headliner show is prime time. You know what I mean? Or a more wide popular. I don't know. I'm not sure really.
Yeah.
That one to me makes a little bit less sense than the comedy stuff, but I kind of get where they're going with it.
Yeah, I think it just comes down like less about the Ellen show, but more about like the streaming shows, like that one soap opera that's on Peacock. It's like, well, it's streaming, so this would have been prime time, but no, it's a soap opera. Like, it should be with the other ones that are daytime. And it's like, with everyone shifting and streaming services and time slots don't matter anymore. I could see that they're trying to change with the times, which I appreciate. But all right, enough of all that. No more rule changes. Let's get to the nominees. What we're here to do tonight. Let's start off with Succession, because they led the pack with 25, followed by Ted Lasso and The White Lotus with 20. Those are your leaders in the drama, comedy, and limited series categories, respectively. After that, we have Hacks and Only Murders in the Building with 17, and then Euphoria right behind that with 16. If we're looking at just the major nominations, it's the same 3 shows there, the top 3 shows, but Succession leads with 12, The White Lotus with 11, and Ted Lasso with 10. Those are the ones that you're going to see in the broadcast. Those are the acting, the drama, the writing, like those categories there. But all right, initial thoughts there, Kyle. Those are our top 3 shows. Make sense?
I mean, to me, it kind of does. The White Lotus to me was the best limited series program, I think. So that makes sense. It should win in writing categories. It has a bunch of supporting characters, and we can talk about should some of them be leads or not. But then you have Ted Lasso, which was a juggernaut in the past few years. So, I mean, that makes sense to me. And Succession is a great show. So why shouldn't they have the most nominations? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with Succession. Definitely agree with White Lotus. I was down on season 2 of Ted Lasso, but I understand, the hype is there for a lot of other people and for voters.
Yeah.
So I could see why I got the nominations. But yeah, if 20, right up there, with the White Lotus, just behind Succession, that's a lot. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Now, the other big story we always have to talk about is the companies, the services, the cable channels, and the fight. Who's going to take the crown? It's always between HBO and Netflix. They're battling back and forth, try to get it. 3 years ago, HBO led. 2 years ago, Netflix took it back. Last year, it was HBO Max. They led Netflix by just one. And I remember Netflix was so mad and no, because you combined HBO and HBO Max. That's not fair. It should be us that won. This year, there's no technicality. I mean, you heard my intro in the beginning. How many Netflix shows did I say in that top 6?
Yeah.
No. How many HBO shows did I say? 4. So it's like HBO and HBO Max, they led with 140 nominations, followed by Netflix with 105. And then Hulu had a surprise showing there at third place with 58.
And you got to say Apple TV Plus, considering the number, I think, of programs they have in relation to the others, is doing pretty good for themselves as well.
Yeah, it looks like 52 compared to Hulu's 58. They put them in 4th place there. That's very good. I mean, Disney went down this year. They're in 5th, but they're at 34 versus last year it was 71. I mean, with the WandaVision and Mandalorian and all that stuff last year. But yeah, I mean, even if you take out the HBO Max of it all and just have HBO still beats Netflix 108 to 105. So.
Wow.
They had a great year. I mean, they had all their shows finally come back with, as I mentioned, Succession. They had a surprise hit with White Lotus. Barry was there. I mean, it's just so much good stuff over at HBO. Yeah, so it looks like overall HBO, Hulu, Apple TV Plus all up from last year, and then Netflix, Disney Plus, and NBC went down a bit. But all right, let's get to it here. Let's go with, we're going to break it up pretty much into 3 categories to keep it somewhat simple tonight. We're going to go drama series, comedy series, and limited series. Let's start off drama series. Our nominees, Better Call Saul, Euphoria, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, Stranger Things, Succession, and Yellow Jackets. This is a very strong bunch. There's 1 or 2 that I would probably take out, but still a very strong bunch. What, John, let me hear your thoughts here. These, 8 shows.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched all of Ozark. I'm only starting Succession. I haven't watched Yellow Jackets, but the rest I've seen, and they're all really good. It's a strong category. For me, I can't think of too much in here that is missing. So yeah, I agree with these nominations. They're pretty on for me.
Yeah, I think overall, when I look at like the series noms, which we'll get to, with these 3 categories, I think they got it the best with the drama series. There's some quibbles I have with comedy series, definitely some quibbles with limited series, but I think overall they really nailed these 8 shows. Like I said, there's 1 or 2 that I probably sub out. I am not, especially the 4th season of Ozark. I get that. We could strike that one. Stranger Things season 4, okay, fine. But like the other ones, Saul, Severance, Succession, Squid Game. I really like the Yellow Jackets, the surprise freshman series there. So it's like, okay, I get all that. I get all that love. Kyle?
Yeah, this all makes sense to me. I mean, I really love Saul. I really love Severance. I know what you mean by Ozark, but you had a feeling that's always going to be there because of Jason
Bateman.
You
knew it was. Yeah.
I know you said you like Yellow Jackets a lot. Yeah. So this all makes sense to me. One thing I will say is that when we were talking about Netflix, they actually, with Squid Game, got like a surprise. So they got a lot of nominations for something that I feel like they pulled a rabbit out of a hat. And they didn't really anticipate it, The other thing for me is, Stranger Things, I agree, it should be on here. But if we're not counting those last 2 episodes of the season, it makes for a very different look at the season as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
that's true.
What we're nominating. Because those last 2 episodes make a hell of a difference in relation to the story. Because if you think about it, then the last episode is that cliffhanger that we have right before those 2. So I don't know, you know?
And that second half is 4 hours of content, you know, versus whatever the 4 or 6 episodes we had of the first batch. It's like the time is very off because of how they split it there. I can't hold it in much longer, John. I think the top story for us, drama series categories, is she finally did it. Ray Seahorn, congratulations, you finally did it.
Yeah,
we've been on the podcast for years. What? Well, even last year, she wasn't even eligible. We're like, come on, it's an off year. Let's just give her a nomination, please.
Yeah, I'm really
She
happy.
got it. Congratulations, Ray. Not only that, she actually got 2 this year. She actually got supporting actress for Saul, and then she's nominated in the outstanding actress in a short form comedy or drama series for Cooper's Bar, which was like an AMC, I guess YouTube kind of short series that they did. So
cool.
It's like she went from 0 to 2.
Yeah.
Like it's just boom.
All the love,
All the love for her. And I'm not going to quibble with Succession leading here with 25 because I love Succession. But then I also will look at the other numbers of how many, the rest of the drama series get. And I see like Saul only got like 7 nominations, tying the lowest of all these dramas with, Yellow Jackets and Saul got 7. So they're on the lower end of things here. And then I look at the history of Saul. It's never won an Emmy. Not one. 0 for 46. Before even these 7.
Insane. And some people like it better than Breaking Bad. Yeah. I mean, it rivals it. So
it's never won an Emmy statue in anything.
Insane.
And and then we got the supporting actors listed here. You got, I think 3 from Succession. You got 2 from Severance, 2 from Squid Game. They're taking up all the slots here. Again, I can't quibble with a lot of these because Matthew McFadden, Kieran Culkin. I mean, they're great in Succession. John Turturro's great in Severance. Like I can't argue with those. But then, other than Bob Odenkirk and Ray Seahorn, there was no love for the supporting actors of Saul. All the actors that play Gus, Mike, Howard, Nacho, Lalo.
Yeah.
Nothing for any of those guys. Yeah. Because again, there's just no space for them.
To me, like both Nacho and the guy who plays Nacho and the guy who plays Lalo deserve some kind of recognition.
Michael Mando and Tony Dalton, yes, definitely.
Yeah, they need some kind of recognition because they're so good in it.
At least Lalo has another chance next year, right? For this episode from Monday. So hopefully that's enough. But
he would technically probably be a guest actor,
even though it's the same. I guess it's the second half of the same season. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, TV Academy. Let's get them on the phone. What's the rule of clarification on this? Yeah,
but coming out of this category, I think this category is stacked. But I think it's Matthew McFadden's.
I hope. I hope
because this season was really all about him. So, but I mean, those Squid Game guys. The Squid Game guys were really, really intense. So, dude, this category is tough. It's stacked.
Yeah, I think like all the Succession cast got a nomination except for Alan Rugg. No love for the con heads. It's just sorry guys.
Man,
and it still broke a record. Actually, they had the most acting noms in a single year with 14. That beats the drama series record of The West Wing. They held it with 12. And then, just overall series. Roots held the most back in the 70s with 13. So they broke it for acting with just 14 nominations in acting alone.
Wow.
Between the guest and the supporting and the lead.
That's crazy.
Let's see. I'm going to talk about some surprises and snubs. I think one I was surprised to see, even though I love Jodie Comer. I'm so glad that she won before. I was surprised to see with the amount of shows this year, her and Sandra Oh both in for Killing Eve's final season, because I feel like it wasn't as hyped. The reviews seemed mixed. People really did not like the finale. So I'm like, okay, these categories are so stacked. There's just not going to be enough room, let alone for 2 of them to get in. But they pulled it in. They pulled it off. But any surprises for you? I guess start off with surprises and then tell me some snubs. If you have any like surprise people you were surprised to see.
Surprise people from
drama.
Just drama in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine is the same as yours with Jodie Comer and Sandra Oh, just because I think that final season, which I have not watched yet because I've heard such bad things. So I don't know. It's like, if the show went downhill, are they the only bright spots? Is it just like, oh, we're going to put them in there?
The ticking of the boxes every year? Oh, got to vote for this person just because they're that person.
They are great actresses.
They are great, but I just as we said, there's just so many people.
Yeah.
This year it's just there's only so many slots.
I was actually kind of surprised just because I didn't think she had a bad performance or anything. It's just I feel like it came out of nowhere for me. The Sydney Sweeney Euphoria one was maybe a surprise. I don't watch the morning show, so Billy Crudup is a surprise to me, but wasn't he nominated before? So
yeah, I think he might have won before. I think he might have had a surprise win.
So yeah, I think those are probably my only surprises.
Yeah, I had Sydney Sweeney as well. She was in for Euphoria. Actually, she's a double nominee for this and The White Lotus. And then Julia Gardner is also a double nominee in this category for Ozark and then Inventing Anna.
Yeah.
For Euphoria, it was just her and Zendaya of the cast members, really, in the main cast. There was 2 guest acting nominees, one for the always great Coleman Domingo. But yeah, it was pretty much Sydney and Zendaya being singled out for Euphoria season 2.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I mean, she was one of the most buzzed about characters, definitely in the second season of Euphoria. So I can understand why she gets a standout nomination here. Yeah, I'd say the ones I was kind of maybe surprised, or these are some snubs now. Maybe we can get into is I was surprised there was so much love for Severance, which is completely deserved. Adam Scott, John Turturro, Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette, they all made it in. I was surprised. No. I mean, maybe it's just because of a name thing. The names I just mentioned are huge, but no Britt Lowry for her character in Severance. She was part of the main group, had definitely a big storyline in this first season. Also, fan favorite the Milchek, Tremel Tillman here. He had another buzzed about character, but yeah, sometimes it's like they go all in on a show, and then there's 1 or 2 people that they miss. They just don't have the support. And I don't know if it's a name recognition thing yet, but I don't know.
It's probably that. Although I think Britt Lower had she's been in stuff before, so I mean, I don't know because she was really good in it. She had to play both the inside and the outside part. Yeah.
To switch back and forth. There.
Not a snub for me, but one that I saw that people were kind of talking about was This Is Us.
Yep.
I mean, I don't really care, but yeah. But I will say, yes, the Winning Time. I mean, I personally really liked Winning Time, but I can see why it wouldn't have been nominated, though. But I think some of the acting categories they might have deserved to have been in.
Yeah, I was actually surprised with this. Winning Time wasn't for me, but they only got 1 nomination. And it's a very buzzy project, a huge ensemble. Yeah. I mean, so many actors, even in the guest categories. You would have thought they would have picked up something. Jonah Hill, Adam McKay, directing it. But just a cinematography nomination for Winning Time. You mentioned This Is Us. It's the final season. And they normally get some, cast members in there. Definitely some guest actors nominated. Usually the 1 network series nominated as well. Just 1 nomination for its final season. Original music and lyrics. That's it for This Is Us. So that was probably a surprise. And then these shows aren't for me, but it is the biggest show on television. It was a SAG nominee, Screen Actors Guild this year. Yellowstone. 0 nominations for Yellowstone.
Yeah, I saw that popping up everywhere too.
And then... again, I don't watch, but very popular Netflix show, Bridgerton. just 3 below the line nominations. Just nothing big for Bridgerton. Any other surprises, snubs in the drama category that I'm missing? Anything jump out to you guys drama wise?
I don't think so. I think maybe the project, the Bridgerton got substituted for another show made by Her Highness. What's her name? Shonda Rhimes. Yes.
Maybe.
But in the limited series.
Oh, it was Inventing Anna?
Yeah, Inventing Anna. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. I have some feelings about that. I guess the one thing we kind of glossed over a little bit, we talked so much about the love for Squid Game. I just want to mention it's a big feat for the show as well. Yeah. It's the first foreign language series to be nominated, definitely for drama series, and I believe just overall series. So it's the first one to break through, so which is great. It definitely was a huge hit. I don't know when season 2 is coming. Maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, but we'll have to see if the reality series we talked about will make it into the outstanding reality series next year or something.
If the world stays as it is, I mean, we might have reality Squid Game in no time. So
maybe. All right. Let's go over to comedy. Comedy series. The nominees are Abbott Elementary, Barry, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, Marvelous Miss Maisel, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, and What We Do in the Shadows. All right, another 8 series here. John, thoughts on these 8?
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on this. I haven't watched Abbott Elementary. From what I hear, it's pretty good, but I haven't seen it. Barry, of course, very strong. I hear great things about Ted Lasso and What We Do in the Shadows. I'm not a huge fan of Curb, and Hacks didn't grab me. I think Kyle was saying that it got better, and there's some
this is season 2 here that's nominated. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. So my impression of that is still the first episode, which did not do great for me. So yeah, it's kind of mixed for me.
Yeah, I only saw the pilot of both Hacks and Only Murders in the Building. Definitely on my list at some point to get started on. What We Do in the Shadows. I like the show. I feel like this last season maybe wasn't its strongest. Season 4 just started. I haven't seen the premiere yet. Curb. I was actually kind of surprised to see it in here. I like Curb. And I feel like there's hits and misses these later seasons of Curb. But we'll look at the count of how many other nominations it got. Surprised it even just made it in for series versus, it didn't get much love anywhere else. Love Barry, but is it a comedy? Well, but and I got to see Abbott Elementary still. It's still on my list to check out. Kyle?
Very similar to you, Dave. I mean, I've still got to check out Abbott Elementary. I've heard great things. Still need to check it out though. I love Barry. Same hit or miss on Curb, but overall good. I would say overall, and I think it deserves to be in the series category here. Hacks, I still got to catch up with season 2, but I was getting better with the characters at the end of season 1, so interested to see what happens there. I really like Ted Lasso. Same with you about What We Do in the Shadows. I didn't think it was their strongest season last year, but they're still very, very fun watch. Only Murders in the Building. It just doesn't. I don't know if I'm ever gonna watch it because it's not my thing. I'm just, I tapped out. Like it would be homework watching for me because it's just not for me. And then Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is one of those ones that I've always wanted to check out, and now it feels like I've let it go too far.
It's a nice watch. I mean, there's some things that stand out, but I feel like in its 4th, 5th season, I can't remember exactly what we're on. You kind of know what you're getting into as you're watching it. You can kind of zone out for a little bit because it's so well established. Yeah. But I mean, Bill Hader has to be having a great day. I mean, not only for so much love for Barry, but 4 noms just for himself. He got 3 for Barry, acting, writing, and directing in that series. And then Curb's second of 3 nominations total was for his guest appearance that season. So he got 4 nominations just for him on those 2 shows. But just like how Succession, kind of cleaned up those categories, the supporting categories in drama. Ted Lasso did the same again this year. They have 3 in both supporting categories. They got 3 in supporting actor, 3 in supporting actress. It's just between these 2 categories, it's just there's like no room again for other performances. It's just, and if you look at this again, it's 3 Ted Lasso in supporting actor, 2 from Barry. You could probably put 1 or 2 more from Barry as well.
Yeah.
Bowen Yang from Saturday Night Live, Tony Shalhoub, Maisel, and Tyler James Williams from Abbott Elementary. But I will say, looking at this, maybe in another season, I could see like the Atlanta supporting players here, but I think between all these other shows, there just isn't enough room for them. Lakeith, Brian Tyree Henry, Zazie Beetz. But then again, I would also argue that this season, this anthology season of season 3, didn't give them much to do. When they were on, they were great, but I don't even know, like maybe they even qualify as guest actors. That's why I was surprised where Donald got the lead actor nomination.
Yeah.
Atlanta only got 3 this year. Again, they're usually season 1, they won a few directing and lead actor and stuff like that. Season 2 got plenty of nominations. I don't know if it was a tough year, I think, win-wise for them. But only 3 nominations this year: acting for Donald, directing for Hero, and then cinematography. And I feel like this is kind of just like, it's the recognizing the individual artist kind of thing they sometimes do, like the Pamela Adlon for Better Things. We're not going to do the series, but we're going to recognize your work you're putting in. And they kind of did that a little bit with Issa Rae for Insecure this year. She gets a nomination, the show doesn't. The leads of The Great, they get a nomination, the show doesn't. So, but yeah. Any thoughts
still,
on?
I mean, it was surprising to see that it wasn't nominated. Yeah. But like you said, there's severely dramatic moments in this show, and the way it was created or how the season flows definitely makes it feel more dramatic. Yeah, it's just surprising not to see it in some kind of nominated in some kind of category, because the show is good. Yeah. It has something to say. It's different. They're trying new stuff.
Yeah. It's very cinematic, so that's why I was like, you would think even more tech categories at least, but
yeah. But yeah, it's a shame not to see. I think if they had more screen time, if we did see them together, these things that made the show really, really good, or you wanted to see those categories or those actors, excuse me, and that's
because it's hard to almost like track their like storyline if you actually sit like what's Ern's like arc of season 3. It's like I don't know if I could completely articulate it just because it was just a couple episodes, pieced together like a puzzle throughout the season. But
yeah.
Let's see, any other snubs? I got a list here, but any like comedy snubs from either of you guys on your list for comedy?
Well, I was just surprised. Blackish has been around forever. It felt like an institution. Not to see it there anymore is kind of strange. I don't know. Especially in its last season, it's like, oh, it didn't get any love. Nothing in its last season. Maybe some. You
got some like below the line. They got only 2 like below the line stuff, costumes and hairstyling. But yeah, Anthony Anderson, Tracee Ellis Ross, they're always in. Check them off. Like they're in those categories, and they're not there.
The only other one that I saw, I still have to check this out. I have been interested in watching it. Was Reservation Dogs, right? Because that's under comedy. I didn't see that in the the dramatic or the comedic series. So
yeah. And some other snubs. You mentioned the ones for Blackish, Natasha Lyonne.
Oh yeah.
There was just one for Russian Doll season 2, cinematography. For season 2, I think it was again. All these shows tried to come out in like April, May, June, or April and May, before that cutoff at May 31st. And it's like there's just too much. I feel like I started it, I didn't finish it. It just there was just too much. To go. It's just too much. Let's see. I'll mention again. This actually maybe not a huge surprise snub, but Cobra Kai and Emily in Paris. I mean, last year they did make it into Outstanding Comedy Series. This year, 2 and 1, respectively, below the line nominations for Cobra Kai and Emily in Paris. And then one I will mention is we have it here for Selena Gomez for Only Murders.
Yeah.
I mean, you got everyone else, every category, you know, writing, directing, Steve, Martin Short, guest category. They have a bunch in there. So there's plenty of love for it. And just to her to kind of be singled out as the lone snub, I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see here. One I kind of forgot about it until this morning, but I am missing it. The After Party.
Yeah.
You know, was it like, you know, perfect? No, but I had a lot of fun watching it. The each individual episode being its own little genre. Definitely should have gotten some tech, you know, some editing, some, you know, whether cinematography, some, you know, just music. Like there was a lot of stuff going on in that huge ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
Should have gotten something, and nothing also for Dave. I believe season 2, I think, was eligible in this.
Yeah.
Nothing for Dave.
Another one that I'm thinking of that I don't think the Emmys would ever, you know, the other two I thought was still really good.
Yeah.
Another good show that deserves some at least some writing or something, you know.
Definitely agree with that one. Let's see here. I'm going to mention some nominations for Saturday Night Live. Normally, they dominate the guest categories with their hosts, which take away from other great comedic performances. I'm actually glad this year that didn't happen. Normally it's like 3 out of the 6 nominees are just hosts of SNL, and it's like based on star power in their names. There was just one this year, Jared Carmichael, which was one of the better episodes of the season, so that they got right in guest actor. And then just in the supporting cast, Bowen Yang and Kate McKinnon, which are great picks. If you're going to pick, you know, some, you know, Bowen had a great year. Kate McKinnon had her final year. So it's just like, those are, if you're going to pick anyone, those are the ones to pick. Okay.
Yeah.
But, all right. Let's see here. Those are drama. That's comedy. One more category to talk about, limited series. Nominees are Dope Sick, The Dropout, Inventing Anna, Pam and Tommy, and The White Lotus. This one deserves to have so much more. There's 8 for drama, 8 for comedy. We only got 5 here for limited series.
Mm-hmm.
Let's expand this one. I got a lot of things that were snubbed. But just overall, your thoughts on these 5, John. I know you saw premieres of at least a few of these here, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Pam and Tommy. I enjoyed The White Lotus. Everything else didn't hit me enough to really make me want to continue watching. So I mean, you're saying that why don't we have 8? I think there's stuff in here that I didn't necessarily like too. So like,
Ouch.
I don't know. It's a little bit weird that it feels a little lacking to me.
I'll mention some later on, and I'll see if you believe those should have gotten in over some of these other ones. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about The White Lotus in a second. Pam and Tommy, I had some. Overall, I liked it. I don't know if I was fully on board that train. If I had to pick another Hulu true crime series, I'd pick The Dropout. I really like The Dropout of these, of the Hulu trilogy with like The Girl from Plainville and all those true crime shows that they released all at once. That was my favorite of the 3. But Kyle, what are your thoughts on this limited series category?
Confused in parts, but I think Pam and Tommy deserves to be there. I liked it. The White Lotus I loved. I think it should win. Inventing Anna, I heard everyone joking about this. So much I didn't want to watch it. So like, what? How? Is my question. Is how? The Dropout. I got through an episode and a half. I'm going to maybe go back and watch it depending on how this other catching up on the other stuff goes. And Dope Sick I've never actually seen. But I know it has some pretty big star power in it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Dope Sick. I haven't been able to check that one out.
I got to check it out too.
The one I want to go into a little bit here is The White Lotus. And it's mostly about how is it even eligible for this category? Because in that December 2021 article from Variety that I mentioned all the way at the top of the show, I mentioned how like, oh, the comedy and the drama, they made up some rules. They also clarified what makes a limited series. Quote, a story arc must be completed or completely resolved within its season with no ongoing storyline and or main characters in subsequent seasons, and that subsequent seasons of a limited series must cover completely new ground, requiring no knowledge of the events of the previous season. So it's like, okay, based off of that, White Lotus, with a returning character played by Jennifer Coolidge, would be a drama. She's returning. She has a backstory. Not so fast. In March, the Television Academy allowed it to be entered in the limited series race. Quote, in this case, the reappearance in a subsequent season of one character from a large ensemble does not prohibit eligibility based on Academy's main criteria for a limited series.
Because they're saying she's not a lead character. They're saying she's a supporting character.
They're saying if she was a main character, we have an issue. But she's a supporting character.
I mean, with how their acting nominations were, and they didn't put anybody in the lead categories, is that why they did that? So that they could get away with doing this? I don't know.
Maybe. They also, I feel like, waited a lot throughout the process of revealing information. There was a lot of talk that Jennifer Coolidge probably coming back.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and we didn't know for a while, even though we all assumed she was going to be playing the same character. They didn't say that the first announcement.
Yeah.
Then in another announcement, it's like, yes, she's playing the same character. It's like, oh, like after all this, eligibility stuff gets finalized. But
I wonder.
I'll give it to them. They did wrap up the central mystery of season 1, like who was in that coffin coming back from Hawaii. That story's there, but like she is a returning character. Is she going to reference season 1 and have that, requiring no knowledge of the events of the previous season?
Yeah, I was just thinking like, it's mentioned like, they could watch it without having any knowledge of the first season. So if you're a viewer, chances are maybe you could watch season 2, and even though she's a character from before, you don't need that information in order to in order for this season to come about. So I mean, that and the fact that she was supporting in their eyes, I think it makes sense. But
because I was gonna say I have 2 examples from 2019 of how the Academy put some shows that were maybe limited into the drama category or comedy category. The Sinner, season 2. It was limited series season 1. Season 2 became a drama. It was a whole new case, a whole new storyline, but they brought back the central character, Bill Pullman's detective. Like his character came back. So I guess he's main, becomes drama. The American Vandal, it moved from limited to comedy series because the 2 central characters investigating the crimes came back for season 2.
Yeah, this still makes me upset.
I'm just upset that we have no more American Vandal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with those things being said, okay, it makes sense. White Lotus being here, I'll take it. I enjoyed it. So much for Lotus. I mean, we mentioned it. Practically the entire ensemble was nominated. It took so many other spots from other shows. It's like we have, was it 5 of the 7 from supporting actress here?
Yeah.
From White Lotus, and you have 3 of the 7 for support or for supporting actor there as well. So pretty much the entire cast got nominated.
I love that Seth Rogen is nominated for Pam and Tommy. That's hilarious to me.
He's in there too. But it's like I'm so glad Murray Bartlett for White Lotus is there. I definitely would have been mad if he was, left off. Jake Lacey, that was definitely a character portrayal. You love to hate his character in the White Lotus. Yeah, and then Jennifer Coolidge, Connie Britton, as we mentioned, Sydney Sweeney, so many people from the White Lotus. But a lot of other shows, couldn't get in because of this. I'll mention Station 11 in a little bit, but American Crime Story Impeachment maybe would have gotten some of these spots here. It's one of those shows that it's usually a powerhouse. It usually is leading nominations. The other 2 seasons in that series have won Outstanding Limited Series, but I don't know if it was just a timing thing. I don't know if it was a review thing. Whatever it was, there was just 5 nominations for impeachment, lead actress, writing, and then some below the line stuff. But yeah, and then the one I'll go into a little bit here. I'm bummed for Station 11. I'm not sure if you guys ever got into Station 11. It did get 7. So I can't be like, oh, they just forgot about it. No, it got some love. But the love that they got was all over the place. I mean, it got acting, it got directing, got writing, got editing, music, cinematography.
Yeah.
So this is me wondering, how does it not get series?
Yeah.
I mean, especially over Inventing Anna, because that got series and it only had 3 total noms: series, acting, casting. But like, this series is the best. I mean, it got writing, directing, acting, editing, music. I mean, all the elements are great. Emmy nominated, but doesn't make the cut of the 5.
Yeah.
Something doesn't make sense here. This is like, I'm trying to think of the series last year that got like literally everything, and again misses out on. I'm trying to remember, but while I'm thinking of that, any thoughts on Station 11, on any other snubs, on Inventing Anna, Kyle?
Yeah, Station 11. I'm only, I think, about halfway through, or maybe a little bit more than halfway through, just because the person I'm watching with takes forever to watch stuff. So, but I like it so far. And I agree with all the nominations it's getting, and I think it should be in the limited series category as well. Also, another surprise or snub might be Midnight Mass, which I thought was pretty good as well. I didn't love it compared to other seasons, but I would take it over something like Inventing Anna if what I heard about Inventing Anna is, real. Yeah, I think those are my 2 biggest snubs for this category, and I'm just curious why White Lotus didn't go with a lead for some of their actors to like spread out the love. But I mean, if they're getting all the nominations,
it must be some kind of like contract thing where it's just like, because it's like, I think I can't remember if they did this with This Is Us. I know they definitely did it with Modern Family. All those, the 6 adult actors were all considered supporting, just like, well, I'm not a lead, like we're all in this together, ensemble. But you bring up Midnight Mass. I'd get so much trouble if I didn't bring it up, because that was definitely that was my fiance's biggest snub. She was very sad to see Midnight Mass not there. I saw it even trending. I saw this article here that mentioned how, one of the best miniseries, and for me, one of the best performances of last year, Hamish Linklater. He should have been up there. And again, was it just too long ago? Did they forget about it? It got just one nomination in sound editing. So it was not forgotten. So it's like, and this is what I'm like saying at the beginning, John, where I'm like, okay, there's 5. Can we expand it to 7 or 8 to get some of these series in?
Sure.
But yeah, at the very least, sub out 1 or 2 of those to get, Midnight Mass and Station 11 and some of these other shows in there.
Is there any rule against that for a limited series or no?
The only thing I could think of is if there's some math equation where it's like a certain number have to be entered for it to make this many nominations in the category. We'll talk about another one at the very end that only has 2 nominations in a category. But it's like, there has to be, I'm going to list like 10 other shows that weren't nominated for series that are limited series in anthology. And I don't know how there isn't enough for at least 6 or 7 or 8 nominees.
Well, I just think some of the best TV is coming from limited series or anthology, because that's how you get some of the best actors to want to play in those roles, or, it's shortened. So even if this thing stinks, it's only 8 episodes, and the studio doesn't have to worry about it, or the network doesn't have to worry about it, So, I don't know.
Yeah, I have I'll just list through them here and then I'll go to individually later. But I didn't watch these, so I don't know. But it's like Under the Banner of Heaven, Gaslit, We Crashed, Super Pumped, Scenes from a Marriage, Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. There's just so many other limited series that Girl from Plainville. There's so many ones that could have been nominated. So it's like, there's only 5, and it's these 5. It's like, really, those are the ones. But Pam and Tommy is nominated. I was glad to see both Sebastian Stan and Lily James up, because those are the best parts, I think, of
for sure,
of Pam and Tommy. And again, as I mentioned earlier, speaking of Hulu, I'm really glad Amanda Seyfried is up for The Dropout. Again, just great performance. I think she really made the show. When you go through it all there.
Yeah.
But some ones that did get snubbed, there was a lot of like A-list, star-studded Oscar winner type roles that just got nothing. The historical drama Gaslit, just 4 below the line nominations. Nothing for Sean Penn, nothing for Julia Roberts. Same with We Crashed, nothing for that. Nothing for Jared Leto, nothing for Anne Hathaway. And then even recent Oscar winner Jessica Chastain left out for Scenes from a Marriage. Normally it's like, oh, you just won an Oscar. Here's you're in the zeitgeist. You're in it. But it's like, nope, she didn't get it for that series. And then I mentioned Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a huge star and shut out. But any other ones I'm missing for snubs in limited series? Anything that jumped out to you guys?
I think I mentioned the snubs of just Station 11 and Midnight Mass. Those are mine for this category. But honestly, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I ever heard of Gaslit.
It's on Stars. Maybe that was
okay.
what,
That makes sense. Then
I heard it a little bit.
So not familiar with that.
I enjoyed The Girl from Plainview and Under the Banner of Heaven. I kept up with those two, and I don't know if they're enough to displace some of the stuff that was nominated because I haven't seen it all, but I thought they were both on the stronger side for some of their episodes. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Again, why 5? Why not 8? And why those 5?
And you bring up Under the Banner of Heaven. Well, I didn't love it. Again, my fiance really liked it. Just one for the lead actor, Andrew Garfield. So I don't know if it was just like, we're signaling you out for this show. But like, I would love to have seen Wyatt Russell in a supporting thing. But again, the White Lotus guys really took up all the real estate in that. So there wasn't enough room for any of those, for the brothers there. But one I'm kind of, don't come for me, Marvel fan, Star Wars fan. I'm glad it maybe got snubbed a little bit because of these series that we got in this year. Loki got 6, Moon Knight got 8, Hawkeye got 2, and Book of Boba Fett got 4. It's one thing for WandaVision to like lead last year in an off year, and for being a very unique, cinematic type show. But I feel like, as we've talked about with these pilots, I feel like a lot of them are kind of, okay, like they're just fine. And it's like for the level of Emmys and for the level of what you expect from Marvel and Star Wars, I think you expect a bit more, whether it's Mandalorian or WandaVision or something like that. And I was kind of glad, like, when they didn't get a series nom, or I saw a lot of talk for Oscar Isaac getting one for acting in Moon Knight. It's like, no,
yeah, I mean, that Hawkeye one is like straight to DVD material for me, man. That thing is awful. But I mean, I can't even see below the line stuff for this thing because of all the video effects problems they've had. The production design is kind of not great. It just feels like I hate to say it, mass producing this type of stuff.
We talked about using the same exact set on Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan. It's just like,
and I mean, you had other shows like Loki and there's the other one I'm forgetting, but they had a lot of possible options. So
yeah.
But do they deserve? I'm glad it's because some of that stuff is not even Emmy worthy, let alone Oscar worthy or anything.
Oscar
like that.
Isaac worthy.
Yeah.
All right. I got some extra ones. We got a minute here. Any other ones of limited before we go into these other categories? I just have like 1 or 2 things I want to bring up. I think we need to do something about the variety sketch series category. Just like last year, there's just 2 nominees. Saturday Night Live, Black Lady Sketch Show. Those are our 2 nominees. Happened last year. Would it shock you to say Saturday Night Live won? Like, it's just like, they just pick it because it's like, oh, Saturday Night Live. Yeah. Every year it's just going to be winning. And I was going to complain again. I'm like, all right, say what you will, but I think you should be on this list. But then I did see it get 2 nominations this year. I got some nominations. Outstanding short form comedy drama, or variety series. And outstanding actor in a short form comedy or drama series for Tim Robinson.
So it's below a certain amount of time?
I guess it's weird because, okay, SNL is 90 minutes. Okay. But the other show, I'm not too familiar with it, but it has to be probably a 30-minute show, I'm guessing. I think you should leave 20 minutes, 22, 20. Really?
Sometimes it's less than that. Sometimes it's about like 15, 16. But yeah.
But still, like.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. It's just, then again, should we combine these? Should we, like what makes the short form comedy drama series, like, again, comedy, drama, we're mixing those together, but we're not mixing this with the other because of time, but we're mixing it with genre. It's very confusing. And then here's another one that's sort of related in this Tim Robinson, Nathan Fielder, John Wilson world is How To with John Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
It got one nomination in Outstanding Writing for a nonfiction program. Another nominee in that category, The Problem with Jon Stewart.
Those are very different shows to me.
Very different.
Very different shows. How is The Problem with Jon Stewart not in writing, at least, with Last Week Tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, did they just submit it in nonfiction program? Are you guys admitting it's not funny? It's not a comedy variety series. It's a it's a nonfiction program. Like, again, it's just very confusing to me why we're separating the variety sketch series, especially when there is a variety talk and sketch writing category. So they combine the talk series like The Daily Show and Last Week Tonight with the sketch shows of Black Lady Sketch Show and SNL in writing. Well, if you're combining it in writing, combine it in the overall category.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Is
it because there's not many sketch shows out there? I mean, even if we add Tim Robinson in there, like, I don't know how many sketch shows are being made now that, like, TV isn't made like that. So maybe we should merge them.
We merge the categories. I think back in the day they were merged. Let's merge them back because clearly these last 2 years with only 2 nominations, like, there's just not enough. And especially if you're going to put, Tim Robinson, a sketch performer, an outstanding actor in a short form comedy, and you're putting John Wilson in nonfiction, and you're putting Jon Stewart in nonfiction. It's just, let's simplify this a bit, guys. It's very confusing.
Unless you decide to add, like, people from YouTube that can now be sketch.
Why not?
Sketch shows.
TikTok.
Because
that's
they
short form.
Well, not even short form, but like YouTube. I guess you could. I guess it would be short form for the most part. But, and I mean, yeah.
I don't know. But that was my big quibble of all these, like, what is going on in these, like, it's just so confusing down in these below the line categories.
Yeah.
Anything else to stand out to you guys before we wrap up Emmy nominations here?
Just the animation category. I'm just always interested in seeing that because of, like, I remember animation being like a huge thing, and now I feel like it's the same thing being trotted out. There was only like 2 new ones that I saw, but I mean, there's got to be more animation being made that's unique. I don't know. That's just my thought.
You always have. I'm looking at the main nominees: Arcane, Bob's Burgers, Rick and Morty, The Simpsons, What If. So I guess they got the Marvel one in there, but yeah, of course, Simpsons, Rick and Morty, Bob's Burgers. It's like there has to be more out there than just those.
And I'm not saying those shows aren't great, but like. There's got to be more animated stuff out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Tweet us. Let us know what's out there. But that's it for Emmy nominations. That is it. Yes, the ceremony is going to take place on a Monday this year, September 12th. That's really going to throw us off, man.
Yeah.
We go live 8 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. How could they do this to us? It's going to be on NBC. We don't have a host yet, so we don't know.
We get to break the news to everybody.
Yeah, so we do a live 3-hour podcast as the Emmys are happening. No, I won't put you through. I won't put you through that. We might have to do like a Wednesday that week, but we're doing a Wednesday tonight. We will be back to Mondays for at least the next 2 weeks. We're going to try to get back into swing of things in August when summer vacations kind of start to slow down a little bit. Our next two shows are some fun ones. We have the return of the streaming service draft game. We did it for the 90s. We built a streaming service drafting our shows from the 90s. This time we're going to compete to build a 2000s streaming service. That's this Monday. And then the following week, we got a clip show for you. We're going to prepare you for the return of HBO's Industry. It's been a while since season 1. Season 2 is coming in August. So we'll kind of give you a refresher of season 1 of Industry the following week. And then if that's not enough, August is packed. We got Nope, the Better Call Saul series finale, the premiere of House of the Dragon. Plus, we'll predict the Emmys, which come up in September. So a lot going on. Make sure you are, you're following us on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, the blog, doordonc.com. Again, make sure you watch us Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, twitch.tv/doordonc. We're going to try to get back to Mondays. And you can always follow us on Facebook and on Twitter, Instagram at doordonc to know when we're going live and to find all these links. Tonight, I got to thank both of you guys first for joining me on a Wednesday night this week to talk about the Emmys and the Emmy nominations. Kyle with the takes, as always. John directing this show, putting it up on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. And I got a special thank you tonight. I'm going to thank my sister and my future brother-in-law here for letting me use their place during a very busy wedding week. I'm here taking over the place, doing a podcast about Emmy nominations. So thank you to everyone. All right. That's all I got. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Do or Done C's Primetime Emmy nomination reaction special. Goodbye, everybody.